Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Another episode of Trash Talk. I'm TJ O'Connor. With me, as always, Damian the Wolverine Hill. And we're joined by Andre Sellars, who's competing tonight at the Ignite fights down in Chicago at the Brawl on Bourbon Street #2. But first, we have to go through the sponsors of the show: Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Ink Shrinks Tattoo, James Clark Sports Psychology and Hypnosis Therapy, the Striking Institute, the Fighters, and my mom. Andre, thanks for taking the time to join us. How are you doing here today?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm ready to compete. I'm excited to be this active again. I mean, I haven't been able to get more than a fight a year since COVID started. So being able to fight 2 to 3 times in a year, I'm happy. If I can be more active, I'm even happier. But, this is a good start.
Oh, yeah. Well, you actually don't look too drained, getting ready for this fight. I know weigh-ins have already happened and everything, but how much weight did you actually have to cut, if any, and how are you feeling right now, performance-wise, or how do you feel you're going to perform?
So this fight, we were trying to go down to 125 this past fight. We decided to go back up to 135 for this fight. So, I cut probably about 15 to 20 pounds, not a lot, not anything too crazy. I feel great, man. This is the best I've felt on like a weigh-in day in a long time. The weight came off good. I feel energized. I'm ready to go in, sling some heat and bang. So hopefully he's coming to do the same thing, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And again, just to beat the dead horse, I really do appreciate you talking to us. The night of weigh-ins, obviously when this gets posted tomorrow, it's the night of the fight. We talked at LFA, had a chance to catch up a little bit, found out you're fighting. How does it, is it a little bit strange fighting on a local card, Ignite, obviously formerly known as Driller, but you're fighting in Chicago, you're fighting in, the opponent's home area, but it's a local promotion. Is that a little bit familiar being in the cage, or what does that level of familiarity bring to fighting in, an opposing state?
So it's a little weird because you get the home kind of feeling with the cage. It's still the same kind of Driller setup. So everything feels similar, but just the crowd is a little different. Sometimes they're not always for you. Like, I got a lot of family in Chicago that came out to the last fights. So we had a good crowd, but not a lot of people are too happy when, the Minnesota guys are beating up the Chicago guys. But we're coming in for a whole nother Minnesota takeover of the South Side of Chicago. So we'll see how it goes, right?
Oh, man. Yeah, this is definitely one of those things that gets people excited. Now, when you say the Minnesota takeover, I think you mentioned that there was a few other fighters that are fighting on the card along with you. Training partners also, I believe. Who else is on the card with you?
I actually got Randy Santiago right over here. He's in the room with me. He's going to be fighting on the same card. I got another guy, Eddie Delgado. You guys probably haven't seen too much of him. I actually went with him to get his debut win this past summer. So he's fighting his second MMA fight now. So I'm excited for that dude to put on a good show. And, man, we're coming in. We're ready. We're sharp. The weigh-ins went good. We're all feeling great. We're ready for a show tomorrow. So I hope you guys are ready to tune in.
Oh, yeah. Well, I love to hear when you're able to have a team actually go on and fight on the same card along with you. That brings a different atmosphere into the training camp and onto the fight night itself. What has training camp been like for the three of you getting ready for this night in Chicago?
Man, it was a brutal training camp, to be honest. We've had a lot of different people working in with us. Davey Young actually came back, and I got to do a lot of work with him, and that's been very beneficial for the weight cut and just building my own skills. We got Thomas Peterson, who's been in the gym, just very motivating to work out with a guy like that athletic and at that kind of level. We got Nick Compton, who's going to be cornering me also, another legend, I'd like to say, of Minnesota fighting. So we've got pretty good and ample crew around us and guys that are helping us all build up. So you're going to see a lot of guys like me, Randy, my buddy Eddie Delgado. We're all on a good rise here. You guys are going to be hearing our names a lot all over the place.
Definitely.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
mentioned your last fight was also on the initial Ignite showdown in Chicago. How soon after did you know that you were going to be on the second card? And when did you find out about your opponent? And what do you know about your opponent going into the fight here tonight?
So immediately after the first Ignite card, I had a terrible weight cut. I had a really sour taste in my mouth from the way the fight went. I didn't perform to my abilities. So I was kind of begging to be like right away. Like I got to kind of right the wrong. What better place to do it than come back to the exact same promotion at the exact same place with another tough opponent? The opponent I'm fighting now is Devontae Frencher. He's a little well-rounded guy, nowhere too good that I should be worried about, but still has a lot of power. I think I watched one of his fights. He had like a 17-second knockout of a guy, and things like that get me excited. That kind of power that someone has and the ability to stop a fight that quickly, that makes sure that I'm doing everything I am to not be on that highlight reel and to put him on mine instead, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
man, yeah.
And I mean, and going into the training camp of this fight, you touched on, having the teammates with you, being in the room. What do you feel like, since, really focusing and being a couple fights into your tenure with work now, how do you feel like being in that gym has really changed you as a fighter and allowed you to grow?
First and foremost, I have to give the utmost thanks and respect to Dalico James, because you guys might not know, but I actually came to work right before COVID or right after, right like the start of like the COVID, and there was no fights going on in Minnesota. So I ended up moving to Arizona to be able to train at a gym and be able to try to find fights. So I spent about 6 months in Arizona. And the main reason I moved back to Minnesota was for Dalico James at work. It's the best training I've ever got, best connection I've ever had with a coach. And I'm ready to show that the skills that he's worked on with me and the work time that he's put in is going to be exponential growth in my improvements from the last couple of fights you guys might have seen. We've been working on a lot of different things, closing up the gaps. And within these next couple of fights, we're going to string together a really good series. And you guys are going to be looking at a lot of different things that come out of work gym.
Oh man, I love it. Now, I guess with that being said, when you look forward into the fight, just I guess in just a few hours after this video will be posted, what is the ideal way that you see this going for yourself? How do you see yourself performing in this fight? With the, I don't know, if you were to, winning is always the goal, but if you could win the way you want to win, how do you see it going?
I see us standing up that early in the first round. I see us getting into a nice exchange, but my speed and my head movement being just a little too much for him to keep up with. I find myself dropping him and possibly taking the back and getting a nice submission at the end of the day tomorrow.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's everything. That's everything in a fight.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm
and
looking for an early night.
Oh, definitely. That's the best paycheck. We don't get paid by the minute. I mean, as amateurs, we don't get paid either way, but you don't get paid by the minute. You get paid for the fight. So get in there and get out. And, for all the fans up here in Minnesota, you mentioned you have a lot of family down in Chicago, so I hope you're selling out the place. But for the fans up here that can't make it there live, how do you watch the fight, and, whose name should they select when they find out to watch the fight?
So what they're going to want to do is you want to go into MMAfutures.com/brawl at Bourbon Street 2. And you're going to be able to sign up for that pay-per-view. I think it's about $24. And there's one thing you got to do. There's a little tab you pull down. All you got to do is pull that tab down. Ignore all the names. If they don't say Andre Sellers, click that name that says Andre Sellers. And that's going to be the easiest way for you to get in and get that pay-per-view unlocked.
Oh man, hell yeah. I love it. I love it, dude. I can't wait to see you perform. I know me and TJ will both be watching. I honestly I don't like saying good luck to anybody. It's not about luck. You go out there and you perform at the best of your abilities and everything will be all right. So just do that, sir, and I can't wait to see you perform.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. You go out there and have a great time. But before we do wrap it up, always want to give you the platform to thank any teammates, sponsors, anybody outside the gym that's been there for you leading up to this fight. You know the drill at this point, Andre. The platform's yours.
Oh, yeah. I got to honestly thank Davey Young, Randy Santiago, Eddie Delgado. I'll even thank Santos Verdinez, a great friend of mine who just had a nice win at LFA. Delico James, and one more. I really need to thank the Burnsville High School wrestling team. I've been coaching Burnsville wrestling for like 7 to 8 years now, and these guys support me to the fullest. I still have a lot of these guys messaging me, wishing me luck, asking me how the weigh-ins went. And as soon as I get back to Minnesota Saturday morning, I'm not in the gym. I got to head out to Northfield to go to this tournament to watch my guys wrestle. So it's going to be a busy weekend for me, man.
I love it. I love it. You know, obviously you got to go do it yourself first, worry about that, but then having the place in mind to go, you know what, I'll see you guys the next day, no matter the result. So that's a beautiful thing, Andre. I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. Like I said, due to my unprofessionalism earlier this week, we had to run it a little bit later than we normally would, but taking the time to talk to us, you know, we're nothing without the fighters. As Damian said, best of skill to you tonight. Be sure to check out the pay-per-view if you haven't ordered it yet at MMA Futures, and select Andre Sellars as your fighter. Most importantly, like this video, subscribe to Trash Talk with Damian and KJ, and don't be a hoe this holiday season. No one wants that.